food for thought for everybody. It's not my topic. Food for thought. So whatever we are doing, let's have passion to it. Then we can be more successful. Like I said, my topic this morning is financial discipline part 2. I want to start by defining financial discipline. I did define it the other time, but I got a more simpler definition of financial discipline. And it says, discipline is a way of behaving. Discipline is a way of behaving that shows willingness to obey. That shows willingness to obey rules and order. Discipline is a way of behaving that shows willingness to obey rules and order. In the 3 sections I had this class, we made reference to financial discipline. And I asked a question. Have you ever imagined those guys that hawk on the express road, that sells pure water and hawk on the express road? And he's thirsty, but he disciplined himself not to take any of the pure water and drink. Even in the midst of that hot weather, is a discipline, because if my calculation sounds right, a pure water bag goes for about 100 naira. You buy an ice block, right? Probably 30, 40 naira as the case may be, right? I don't know. And probably the profit on each bag is about 15 naira or 16 naira. So for every sachet that the guy drinks, he's reducing his margin. So he walks all through the day inside that sun, and he held on to his thirst, right? Because he will be giving account to his boss back home. That attitude that persistence, that attitude that guy display is what we call financial discipline. So to some other person, as soon as he's thirsty, he could just bust one and drink it, right? As soon as he's thirsty, he could bust one and drink it. And when he gets back home, he tell mommy, I was thirsty, I took like 4 sachets out of it. You know that certainly they are just wasting their time. They are not making money out of that business. So you cut across a lot of people that you see do business. They discipline themselves against some of their wants, against many of their wants, and against some needs even. Needs that are very critical. But they have to discipline themselves over a period of time to get those things. So my class will start saying, though most people associate discipline with social behavior, anytime we do the word discipline, somebody want to look at your moral life. Somebody want to look at, are you an upright person, right? So not wanting to relate it to business. It also applies on how you manage your money. How do you manage your money, your resources, your time, right? It's all encompassing. Financial discipline refers to how well you conform to your spending and savings to the plans that you have set to achieve your monetary goal. Yeah, I have ₦1 million. I've planned how I'll spend the ₦1 million. I have planned how I'll spend the ₦1 million. Okay, let me even start with say 100,000 naira. Okay, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. Now you have planned, right? Suddenly you went out and something that was not in your budget line came up. And the next thing you are doing, you're actually acquiring that thing. It's not in your budget line. You acquire it, meaning you're not financially disciplined. If you are disciplined, you want to adhere to that plan. It took you a while to plan. After you have planned, you want to maintain that plan. I want to make reference to the book of Proverbs, chapter 13, verse 18. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 18, rather, which says, he who ignores discipline comes to poverty and shame. He who ignores discipline comes to poverty and shame. Scream. I bet you people can still convince you that market to buy a curved TV. Right? People will convince you to buy that thing that you didn't plan to actually buy that you have in your plan. So, but in being a disciplined person, because you are working towards a target, you want to be mindful, no matter the sweet mouths they share with you, no matter the other advantages that they say this particular product have, Because you are disciplined, you know what you came for, you go for that thing, and you get it, and you leave the market. You buy it, and you leave the market. Otherwise, you end up buying what you did not plan for. And many of us will fall into that kind of category or bucket. Impulse spending. Impulse, right? I think Bratuni gave a reference to such last 2 weeks or so, where he bought one of those, is it a toy? He bought for his son. And he went to a supermarket, he just saw it, oh, this is looking beautiful, and he bought it. Incidentally, when he took it home, the boy he even bought it for never played with it for like 48 hours. Eventually, when they will play with it, they start tearing the toy. Do you understand? That is because he didn't plan to go and buy that toy. There was no need. If the boy has gone somewhere else and saw that particular toy and showed that he actually needed that toy, it could have been much easier when he bought the toy, the boy to have the toy. It could have been much easier when he bought the toy, the boy could have accepted the toy. Oh, this is what I've actually been looking towards. This is what I was looking for. This is what my other friends have somewhere, and I've been longing to have this toy. But that is not the case. And that will happen to fall into such category. You go out, right, without a plan to buy something, and somebody convinces you, and you end up buying what you did not plan to buy. So financial discipline will guide you. Making a plan will guide you to buy what you plan to buy, so that you are in line with your guide. Also, I have some pointers here that says how to achieve financial discipline. I have some points on how to achieve financial discipline. The first and foremost I will speak to, it's called spend less and earn. Spend less than you earn, rather. Spend less than you earn. Spend less than you earn. Some of us will earn 100,000 naira, and our expense every month is about 120,000 naira. Your earning per month is 100,000 naira, and because family and friends, commitment here and there, right, your overhead total cost is 120,000 naira. What does that mean? Meaning you keep struggling each month, in and out. That month, for you to cover your costs, you are going to meet one brother, you are going to meet one sister, you are going to meet one relation. Please give me 20,000 naira to cover this cost. And he reach out to you, and you settle that month. The next month, you are looking for somebody again to lend you a 20,000 naira. Peradventure, somebody even lend you the 20,000 naira the second month. Because meaning in the third month, you ought to have paid that 20,000 naira. And you find yourself struggling, either not honoring your word, your promise to repay back, looking for a story to tell the person, just one thing or the other, because you are spending more than you earn. So I have a principle here that says 30/70 principle. Just like Pareto analysis that we used to make reference to. The 30/70 principle, right, is saying that out of your 100,000 naira, which is 100%, you do your tithe, 10%, you do savings of 10%, and you do investment of 10%. You pay your tithe 10%, you do savings of 10%, and you do investment of 10%. That leaves you with how much? Sorry? So, and that 70% is what you use for your running cost all through that month. The 70% you pay your school fees from there. The 70% you pay your rentage from there. The 70% miscellaneous expenses. The 70% will be every other expense you want to incur within that month will all fall into this 70%. Now I said school fees. Yeah, school fees we pay per term, which is every 3 months or thereabouts, right? And if you know that your son's school fees is, for example, 20,000 naira, you share that into 3. So maybe every month you'll be saving about 7,000 naira or 6.8 or 6.9 thousand naira every month. And for 3 months, you can raise that 20,000 naira without calling anybody, without asking for assistance from anybody, right? So you must plan. If you plan yourself, these things are workable. These things have been tested, right? Is it easy? Sure, it is not. Financial discipline, is it easy? Sure, it is not. Even at our level, we still struggle with that. But that does not mean that people do not practice it. That doesn't mean that people do not do this we are saying, right? So if you look at that 70%, like every other cost you want to incur that month, all fall within this 70%. You want to invest your 10%. You want to save your 10%, right? And your tithe standard, you pay your 10%. If you do that, you say you will live in a comfort zone where you are not calling somebody, where you are not asking for an assistance from somebody, right? If you are not working, that's a different ball game altogether. But if you are working, whatever amount you earn, this is required. Whatever amount you earn, it could be 20,000 naira, it could be 30,000 naira, it could be 100, it could be a million. This is a standard, right, that has been proven and tested. Now, in your investment, I say 10%. It might look small. So you earn the 30,000 naira, I say save 10%, which is 3,000 naira. Do you know in 12 months, you have 36,000 naira of your own, right? That is your savings. You still have your 10% again for your investment. So at the end of a year, in 12 calendar months, you actually have 72,000 naira, right? 10% as savings and 10% as your investment. And in this same Lagos that we are, some people are looking for 10,000 naira to start something. Some people are looking for 20,000 naira to start something. I came as low as 30,000 naira, that if you have, you can actually save. And in starting to save, it takes a lot of discipline. If you ask me today, I don't even save. As a fact, I don't save. So I struggle with it, and because of my overhead costs. So what I did is I increased my pension fund, right? We have a standard pension fund we pay in the office. So I did a VC, voluntary contribution, of almost 100% of what is deducted from my salary. And what does that do? What did that do to me? Meaning, the pension fund is not people I can just call anytime and say I want to collect my money. But there's a process to it. So that is how I was able to save some money via that pension fund. I also did another one again. An insurance I opened, my personal one. I increased the rates, my premium that I paid every month. I know these places are not places I can go and collect money instantly, right? So by so doing, I've been able to save some good numbers, some very good numbers. Now, I tried opening a savings account, which I did. So what I did, there's a promo we did in the office. As you spend, you save. So for every 10,000 naira you spend, the system automatically save 10% for you, right? We did that. I did that, and I have some good numbers. And when the first challenge of life will come, which it does come, right, it was easier for me to use an ATM card to withdraw that savings. Also, for ATM cards, if you have a savings account, do not link your ATM card to it. Discipline yourself. Do not link your ATM card to an account that you are keeping for your savings, because one issue will always arise and you will be forced to go and touch it. So for some people, they don't have an ATM card, so that if that issue happens on a Friday evening, before you reach Monday morning, the matter must have resolved itself somehow. So you could have 4, 5, 6 accounts. The one that you choose for your savings don't have an ATM card. And you know that even going to withdraw the money across the counter, bankers try to make it difficult for you. Because unlike before, when they give you a deposit slip, right, or a withdrawal booklet, now they don't give you. So you have to come to the bank. Questions will be asked before eventually they will give you the paper for you to fill. Even if they'll tell you that the commission for this withdrawal is higher than the normal withdrawals. So they just try to discourage people. Like I said, if this issue happened on a Friday, believe me not, by Monday morning, somehow, it could have been resolved. So my advice is that do not link your debit card, ATM card, to your savings account. Sorry? Okay. The mobile apps, or the USSD, right? It's possible that you can deactivate it from your savings. Yeah, it's possible. If you meet the CSU and say you don't want anything linked to this account, right? You don't have access to it, they can deactivate all those links that will link to that account. Yes. Okay, so like I said, the 70% is what you must, that's what you work around. You manage yourself, manage your expenses to be within that 70%. And it can only get better. Also, point number 2, I say have a budget for your money, which was what I just explained now, your 70%. Have a budget for your money. If you don't have a budget for the remaining 70%, it will never be enough. Even if you earn 1 million and your 70% is 700,000 naira, I bet you, the more you earn, the more responsibility or bukata that you have. You find out that you earn 1 million and you are still struggling. If you don't plan properly, you are still struggling to look for as many as you can collect. So when some people meet me, Brahma, I have issue as if I can collect that your own self. Join the one that I get. Do you get? It's as good as that. But if you plan properly and manage and live within that 70%, then you can be disciplined to have 20% saving, one as savings and the other one as investment. Say the budget should cover the following. Like I said earlier, your housing, your rent, your feeding, your car maintenance, your school fees, entertainment, you want to take your family out, miscellaneous expenses. Then point number 3, it says shun shady schemes. Put off shady schemes. Put off shady schemes or shun off shady schemes. What am I trying to say here? Say the quickest way to destroy your fortune and reputation is to engage on unwise and unethical deals and practices. Unwise and unethical deal and practices. This Ponzi scheme, at one time all of us fell into it. MMM and the likes. As much as some people made money, maybe the people that the early starters made money, you want to agree with me that most of us lost money in that scheme. Most of us lost money in that scheme. It's also a given. It's also given that the higher the risks, the higher the return. And the lower the return, the lower the risks, right? Vice versa. You want to deposit 100,000 naira and within 3 months, you want to get 300,000 naira. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible, right? But you know that the risk is very high. Because if it doesn't work out, you are losing that 100,000 naira in less than no time. Like I said, a lot of, even before a lot of such that have come in the time past. And people will make money, like I said, the beginners will actually make money, right? And those beginners will keep testifying about the money they've made. And people like us will now fall into that, will I say a trap? Will now fall into that, will now become a victim of circumstances in that category, right? So you cannot have your 10% save aside and you see such scheme and you want to put your money into it. Then it will make sense. You will not see, after you have struggled all through the year, you've saved your 10%. If you earn 100,000, let's say you are able to save 100,000, and you now hear that in the month of January, the next year, you now hear there's this MMM that is flying around. Put 100,000, you get 300,000. It's good. If you do it, if you get it, good and fine. But then, like I said, if you don't get it, meaning all your effort the previous year is all wasted. So let's be watchful. As sweet as those things look to be, financial institutions do not enter it. And I'll tell you where financial institutions make money from. They actually make money from FX. If you have a guru that's an FX trader, right? That's where most financial institutions make money from. They have a department called Treasury. People work there 24/7. And people make money. So when the bank is declaring 100 billion, if you check in total, probably 50% of that 100 billion is from FX. So, and the FX, which is not my subject, anybody can learn it. Anybody can trade it. You don't need a third party to trade in FX. If you have the time, it's just your smartphone. It's just enough for you. You can always download the app, right? You can get a few dollars in an account and you start trading. And most of the people that trade and enter issues in FX is because they are greedy. True. It's because they are greedy. Because my younger brother in Abuja has been in FX for almost 8 years. What those small kobo, that's what he chops. He's not looking for the big money. He eats that and he has been steady. He's not a big boy, but he's comfortable. He just go for those 1 naira, all those pence. That's what he accumulates. And every day he has a target, which is one of the discipline. Every day he has a target. If he does, let's say 1,000 pence, he stops. No matter how sweet the market is, no matter how interesting the market is, when he does that level, he stops. He closes the system, and that's all for the day. So, like I said, it's a discipline. Yeah, you see the market is very volatile. It could go like this now, and suddenly it crashes. So, but with discipline, you can actually do it. We have some of our staffs that are very good in it. Individuals, small boys that are just employed. You see them with their laptop, you say, "Oga, work." I'm working. And you see, he has a laptop, or he has his phone. He's trading in between work. At the end of the day, he drives the kind of car I will not even drive at my level. Right? And those are those kind of people that all those SARs are looking at. When you see a young boy of less than 30 is driving a car that a manager will drive, we need to wonder, "Okay, when did you start work that you can afford to buy this kind of big cars?" People make money from FX. And people lose money in hundreds of millions in FX because of greed. So like I say, make a plan, have a budget. If you have a budget, work within your budget, which is the 70% like I proposed, and show shady deals. Now, invest wisely, right, which I've just mentioned too. It's a small and safe return is more desirable than a risky and high return. A small and safe return is more desirable than a risky and high return. So that brings me back to Treasury bill. Treasury bill, like we all know, is almost risk-free. As a matter of fact, it's risk-free because it's government that sells Treasury bill. And as long as government remains in Nigeria, Treasury bill will always be honored. Right? The percentage on Treasury bill is small, but it's risk-free. So some of those hundreds of billions a bank declare, part of it too are from Treasury bills. I have said in this class some times ago that even Dangote, when I was working in one other unit before I was now, I saw 100 million. Dangote himself is buying a Treasury bill. So all these guys, they live large, they are big guys, but this same thing are what they do, where you have string of income, is into this, they buy all these things. As in every 3 months or 120 days, 90 days, Treasury bill matures. Even if it is 5% of 100 million, right, which is higher than the savings, the interest rate a bank would have given to you, right? You make your cool money out of Treasury bills. It's just that it won't be very, very palatable if you have a very small amount of money, right? But if you have big money, if you go into Treasury bill, you will sleep with your 2 eyes without a fear for risks or your money will lose, right? Unlike if you put even half of that money into some schemes, right? You can never sleep until when that 30 days or 21 days when the person pays you back the first payment, then you now start recouping. All right. So I say invest wisely, right? Then diversify, meaning instead of having all your eggs in one basket, you can actually engage in some other things. So I go back to, if you earn 30,000 naira, and your 10% over a year will be like 36,000 naira, right? In 2 years, you have about 72,000 naira. In 3 years, you have over 106,000 naira, right? So in 3 years, you have over 100,000 naira. Either are savings for your investment. And you now decide you want to diversify. Instead of having this 100,000 naira in whatever it is, in whatever form that it is, you want to put 50,000 naira into something else. You want to put 30,000 naira into something else. For example, so you could just diversify that your investment that you have been saving for a while. Just do business with it. I think that's the language here. Do business with it so that it can yield more returns. Then I say use professional advice. Use professional advice. You want to invest, you meet professionals. Oh, I have 100,000 that I want to invest. What do I do with it? So that they can guide you, right? They can tell you what you can use your money to do. Now, the professional here does not necessarily mean it has to be professional in that core. Someone that is experienced, right? You can meet the person. Oh, this is what I want to do. Please, can you guide me, right? They could share their thoughts with you. Wow. Then the 8th point here says, use the power of leverage. Use the power of leverage on something. Use the power of leverage. Leverage is the power to control a lot with just a little. Take advantage of somebody's wealth of experience. Right? Take advantage of some other person's money. I talked about a broker some times ago, right? You know how this guy has enough, and you become an intermediary between him and some other things that he might want, right? And in between, you can make a commission out of it. A broker is a person that intermediates between either a person and a business, right? In between, he makes a commission. Oh, I want to buy a car. And I shared with my brother, I want to buy a car. And he's sourcing for car for me. Oh, what kind of car do you want? I want a Highlander 2021. And he's sourcing for that for me, right? And when he saw, he said, oh, Brahma, I've seen a Highlander at so amount of money. Yes, even if I buy through him, certainly we'll get a commission, right? So that's what I just meant. So take leverage of other people's money. Take leverage of other people's money. Take leverage of other people's experience in life. Share thoughts. Meet people for counseling. They could tell you what they do to be where they are today, right? And you can get that experience. Then leverage of time. Use your time very well. I think Papa have talked about this. Use your time very well. We cannot be watching home videos, and we're believing that our worst days are over. If you keep watching home video, your worst days are still with you, right? Until you come out of that. So then the last one, I say practice good corporate governance. Practice good corporate governance. And what do I mean by that? In your place of business, you must keep your record intact and appropriate, right? All your income, all your expenditure, you must know all that. You must separate your personal self from the business, right? You must also pay yourself a salary. Peradventure, you are doing well in your business. It's a standard, so I will not say you are doing well. Whatever it is that you are doing, you must learn to say, oh, this is what I am paying myself, right? So that you can work within the others. Then point number 10. Okay, then I'll make reference to, let me talk about point number 11 here. It says, use automation to boost your discipline. Use automation to boost your discipline. What do I mean by that? You know, in the financial sector, we have what we call standing order. Standing order. Even from the ATM machine, you can actually see you have that standing order. And what does it do? What does it do? You can program you can tell the ATM, please, on the 30th of every month when I collect my salary, save 10% for me, automatic, right? If you go to a banking hall, you tell the CSU, please, I want a standing order, right? That is, they will give you a form to fill. That every month, on a particular day, please remove 10% out of my salary or out of whatever deposit I've been depositing every day as a business person. Remove 10% for me. For parents, you see that they save money for their children. Okay, I think my wife does that. So they save money for the children. And every month, a particular amount is taken out of her salary to all the 4 children accounts. It could be 2,000 naira, but it becomes consistent, right? And over time, when I'm struggling for school fees, they'll be laughing. They'll bring their money and to add to whatever hustle I've hustled, right? Now the point is, if you can activate that standing order, because if you find it difficult to go and save the money yourself, if you activate that standing order, it makes it easier. Like it will boost your discipline because you don't have access to that money. And you'll not be waiting, oh, I want to do the transfer myself. Automatically, the system will move it for you. Then lastly, point number 11 says, 30-day savings rule. 30-day savings rule. 30-day savings rule. and I'll explain how that works. You go into a supermarket and you have the impulse to buy, right? A want. Not a need now, a want. And this rule is saying that instead of buying it immediately, go back home, think over it, right? Wait after 30 days. If you still want to buy it, then go and buy it. If you don't want to, after 30 days, it will be obvious that you probably don't need that thing that you wanted to buy 30 days ago. Right? So if I wanted to buy that in 5,000 naira, yes, I have the 5,000, I keep the 5,000 naira, save it somewhere, and I wait for 30 days. After 30 days, do I still really want to buy that thing? If you are still desirous of it, then you take the 5,000 and go and buy. But in most cases, what this principle is saying, in most cases, it has been proven that after that 30 days, you begin to realize that you don't really need that thing. So it's a concept that people use. So anytime you have an impulse to buy what you don't really need, hold on to it for 30 days and you'll see if you actually still need it or not. So you say, how does it work? Instead of making an unplanned and impulse purchase, right, you shelve the potential purchase, you shelved it for 30 days and deposit the money in your savings account. If you still want to buy them after 30 days, then you can go ahead and procure. If not, like I said, studies have proven that most people on impulse just buy things they don't really need, right? Then, in conclusion, I say financial discipline is a skill that gets better with practice. It can be learned just like anything else. Financial discipline is a skill that gets better with practice, and it can be learned. Thus, a key part of financial success is learning the skill of discipline and breaking the heart of spending unwisely. Breaking the heart of spending unwisely. When we all make up our mind, we can achieve financial discipline. When we all make up our mind, we can achieve financial discipline. Then I concluded by saying, if you are bad with money, right, even as a person, it will be difficult for you. Then let me just read. If you are bad with money, you are bad with business. If you are bad with money, you are bad with business. And what does that literally mean? Right? If you don't have financial discipline, you'll be struggling with your business. When you are thirsty like that young boy walking on the street, you just carry on pure water, bust it and drink. And I can't kill myself. Right? When you are thirsty again, after 2 hours, you bust another one and drink. I can't kill myself. At the end of the day, you are not making anything. You are not making anything. All right, that's the end of my class. All right, thank you. Questions and answers or contribution as it is from our experiences in life. Okay, sir.
Thank you very much. You have spoken well. You discover that our ability to make a budget and stand by it is a good thing. But to discover that in this part of the world we are, the economy policy and government policy make nonsense out of it. In the Western world, you can sit in the comfort of your home and make a plan and a budget. And it's going to run between January and December because the prices are still stable. But here in this country, you discover that it's economic. Just like this weekend, government just woke up and they increased the price of fuel. And you have planned to spend 5,000 on your car for a month. Discipline is impossible. It's no longer possible. You go to the market and what is being sold for 5 naira has now gone up. How are you going to do it? So in the Western world, this is practicable. But as far as we are here in this country, it is not doable because of economic policy and government policy that comes up every day. Thank you.
All right. So you say in this part of the world, Africa per se, Nigerian in question, is not doable. I'm inclined to agree with you, but I will disagree with you. Right? I mean inclined, yes. It's looking almost impossible to do. Before God and man, some people live on these principles. People live on financial discipline. Now, you want to, this month I have programmed myself with my 70%, right? I've said I'm going to spend so amount for transportation, like you said, or I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy this. and suddenly federal government over the weekend just increased fuel, right? That has distorted your plan. All we need to do is to readjust ourselves to fit in. Now, in readjusting yourself to fit in, maybe your 10% savings, right, might cushion the effect. Your 10% investment might cushion the effect at that particular point in time, right? And subsequently, you will readjust. Or you can tweak your expense. Tweak your expense, that's 70%. I say that is what you will live on. So you can retweak your expense and still live within that 70%. Will it be tough? Yes, it will be tough. But it's not impossible. It's not impossible. Maybe for people that earn very well, right? This amount will not be an issue for them. 70% could be probably running into hundreds of thousands. And they can actually play with the figures and still achieve what they want to achieve. Okay.
Praise the Lord. In order for someone to be able to succeed financially or to stick to the financial budget, he has to determine or differentiate his needs from his wants, right? So I want to ask, making budget for fuel to provide electricity at home, in your opinion, do you think it falls under the category of need or want? You understand me?
Home use fuel, right? Could be in between both of them. And I explain to you why. Even in my home, I hardly on my generator in the afternoon. As a matter of fact, I on my generator 7 p.m. in the evening till 10 p.m. in the night. Irrespective of standard now. That's how I discipline myself. I only on my generator over the weekend if there's a football match to watch. I could be partial, right? But at home, 7 p.m. they'll on the gen. And at 10 p.m., I hardly even stay till that time. Many a times, I might be coming back from work that late, and as soon as I shower, I'll just go to bed because 4:30 the next day, I'll be up again. So, and hardly my family will want to watch film. My girls, my students in the house sleep by 9 o'clock. No matter how interesting that film is, no matter how interesting anybody is, 9 o'clock, everybody must go to bed, except for my wife, which she can go to bed at any time she likes. But the children, 9 o'clock is a time for everybody to go to bed, right? And for me, like I said, if I come early, maybe if I'm able to watch China's news, maybe just even listen to the headlines. If there's anything that interests me, I eventually Google it. I'll go to bed. In the morning, on my way to work, when I get to office, I can now browse to update myself. So, for me, it's a need that period is a time of convenience where the family will have to settle down, do some house chores, and relax for a while before they all go to bed, as the case may be. Now, if a want now will now be, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, right? As soon as they come back, they're on the generator all through the day. For me, that will not become a want. It's uncalled for. Because when you come back from school, you're either doing your homework, right? Trying to settle down, right? So I don't think, for me, they don't need a generator at that particular point in time. So that's how I look at it. Now, if it is a need for you that you'll be home at 4 o'clock and you need to have your gen on because of your business or your comfort as it is, which matters to you too, I don't have a problem. Then it becomes a need to you. So it's going to be relative to everybody. All right. Any other question? Okay. I don't have any question, incidentally. Thank you for your time.
Let's put our hands together for him. You can do better than that.